Welcome back to From the Flightline on WGTV. I'm Joel Gilly, and I'm joined by a very special guest. What's your name?
Sergeant Holmquist.
Sergeant Holmquist. What's your first name?
Aaron.
Aaron. Is it okay if I call you Aaron?
You can call me Aaron.
Aaron, what do you do at Seymour Johnson?
I'm a medical laboratory technician.
Okay, so I think a lot of people probably know what that means, but what does it mean? What's a normal day like for you at work?
So pretty much anytime you've ever gone to the hospital or the doctor and they draw blood or they take a swab or anything, I test anything that comes in and or out of the body.
Interesting. So that's a very integral part to the medical team there at Seymour Johnson, right? Because you got to have good health to complete the mission, right?
Doctors don't get their answers without me.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So how long have you been in the Air Force?
I've been in the Air Force. This will be 10 years.
Awesome. So what brought you to the Air Force?
Honestly, I had no clue what I wanted to be when I grew up. And you're 16, 17, and everybody wants you to choose a college and choose a career path. And I had no earthly idea and did some research. And I came downstairs one day and I said, Dad, I want to join the military. And he said, you can join the Air Force or the Air Force.
Was your dad Air Force?
No, my dad's Army.
Oh, so that's interesting. He was like, nah, you might want to go Air Force.
He said they're going to take care of my baby.
Okay, well, that's good. So where were you from?
My family is from Alabama.
Okay.
Like born and raised, but my dad is in the Army, so I was born in actually Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And then just traveled everywhere.
So you're kind of back home now?
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
I know the area.
Yeah. How long have you been at Seymour Johnson?
Almost 6 years.
Okay. So how do you like it?
I love Seymour Johnson.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons we're not trying to leave. If we leave, we leave, and that's what we do. But otherwise, I mean, we've bought a house here, and a local family's kind of adopted us. And
that's
so
cool.
We just stay.
So if you're looking back and you're that 16, 17, 18-year-old, you have no clue. What would you say if you could sit down with someone and tell them what's been so great about the Air Force? What would be kind of the one thing you would say has been great?
One of the best things I know is a lot of times you end up staying home or not knowing what you're going to do or doing nothing. And you're taking all these classes, and I would tell them, honestly, joining the military, even if you only do it for 4 or 6 years, it was the best thing I could have done. Because even if I decided to get out after that time, my college is now paid for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm older, I'm more mature, I've done a few things, and I maybe know myself a little better and what I would like to do versus just working somewhere and not knowing what to do. It kind of prepares you for your future versus just letting you sit stagnant and still not know. Exactly.
And another good thing about it, especially your field and so many others, is there's that job transfer after you get out.
Completely.
I mean, you could literally pop into any kind of medical thing outside the Air Force as well, right?
Yes, with the experience I have as well. I mean, I've already been asked to teach at local schools.
Cool.
Because I can teach phlebotomy, or I could teach a lab course. All I have to do is take a certification test for a national accreditation. All the schooling, I already have my degree for what I do.
That's really cool.
And I got it
all paid for.
Off by the Air Force in my tech school in less time than it would take to get it on the civilian side.
Wow. So when you came to the Air Force, was, the medical tech, was that something you came in wanting to do? Or did you kind of find that after you got into it?
I actually fell into it. So I initially joined I wanted to be an EOD technician. And I had really high mechanical scores. And so I joined, but I failed out of that tech school because obviously it's very, very difficult tech school. Things go boom.
What makes you be like, I want to walk up to an explosive and try to fix it?
Well, for me, knowing that my dad is also active duty and he's in the Army, it was one of those things where you hear all these stories about things happening, and all it takes is one trained person to know what they're doing to keep that bad thing from happening.
Absolutely.
But when I fell out, I actually did say, I want to be medical. And so I went through and I chose all these different medical career fields, and they just chose the one that they needed for me.
I gotcha. But, there's always a need for that kind of stuff. So it's a good thing to be in.
Great career field.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your, if you had to pick like a favorite part of your job, what would it be?
Honestly, probably phlebotomy.
Yeah.
Which I know normally for lab techs that we get known for drawing blood, but it's not what we do. But it's my favorite part because I
didn't know that either. I assumed it was drawing blood and stuff.
Right. No, we actually test. So you have phlebotomy, and then you have, or phlebotomists, and then you have laboratory technicians. Yes, we can draw blood, but it's not our primary mission.
I gotcha.
Our primary mission is the testing. But that's probably my favorite part because you see the faces of the people you help with. So often you get back in a lab and you become accustomed to the machines, and you forget the people behind the actual samples coming back. So being up there, and that's kind of nice because then you see the people that you're actually helping.
Yeah.
And you get to know them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're drawing blood, anything like that, and then, and I guess just for people who don't know, you're testing for everything, right? You can be looking
yes.
for illnesses and all kinds of things, right?
We've found malaria before. We've found cancer before. It could be something as simple as a urinary tract infection or strep throat, all the way up to, malaria.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy stuff. So you said you grew up or you were born in Fayetteville, and you moved around. What other bases have you been to?
In the Air Force or growing up?
In the Air Force.
In the Air Force, I've been to 4 different bases. I was in San Antonio for a while. I was in Mississippi for a while, back to Texas, and then here.
So you've got to see a little bit of the U.S. in the Air Force so far. In your spare time, what do you like doing?
I do a little bit of everything. If it can be done in or outside, short of like playing video games, I do just about everything. I've rock climbed. I own a horse here, and I ride horses.
Wow.
My family and I, we go out shooting. We hike. I've been to the majority of the state parks around here, hiking, things like that. And then I take my son everywhere that I go.
So you got to be pretty happy to be in North Carolina, because I feel like there's a lot of decent hiking around,
That's an understatement.
Yeah, you got the mountains a couple hours away, the beach, it's pretty good, right?
You don't even have to go a couple hours away. A lot of people don't even realize if you just search North Carolina state parks or go to any state and search whatever state parks, it opens you up to everything.
Exactly. So are you like into the crazy hiking and stuff, or just hiking kind of through the woods?
I like hiking on mountains, but I'm not going to go put on a breathing mask.
I got you.
Go up so.
You're not doing the Appalachian Trail just yet.
No, that's too many days.
Maybe one day. Once you're out of the Air Force and retired, maybe.
6 months of out in the middle of nowhere and people mailing me trail mix. I like my food.
Absolutely. And so you said you have a son. You're out and about. What's your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, okay, so I love Narita's.
Okay.
Ever been?
We've heard. I have not been, but I've heard that one a lot.
It's a Korean restaurant, and so growing up, I lived in Korea for a year.
Wow.
With my dad, and so whenever I came here, I love bulgogi. So I really like Narita's.
Yeah.
And then I really like Sumo's because I like sushi, but I'm allergic to shellfish, and so they're the only place that'll wrap it in soy paper versus seaweed.
I got you. That's pretty good. So I have to ask you. You said you grew up in another country.
For a little bit.
For a little bit. So can we talk a little bit about where you've been across the world?
Sure. Just for fun, when I was 13, my mom told me if I saved my money, I could go to Switzerland. And so I had a friend who lived...
By yourself?
Yeah. I had a girlfriend who, her dad was actually the mayor, or not her dad, I'm sorry, her grandfather was the mayor in Lillington, North Carolina. And we met one summer, and so I saved my money and I flew to Switzerland and I spent 2 weeks with her. I've been to Korea, and I lived there for a year, which was amazing because we actually lived out on the economy, not on a military base. So we really got to mingle, and I got to teach English at a local school.
That's cool.
I've lived in total of 27 different places.
Really?
And I'm 28, so...
It's like one a year almost.
Almost. Well, a couple times I moved, here. I've lived here for almost 6 years, but I've moved 7 times.
I got you.
I don't like to stay in one place too long.
Well, hey, that's good. The dust doesn't have time to collect by the time you're moving, right? What do you see for yourself in the future? You gonna stay in a little while longer?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I am definitely retiring. My husband and I are both active duty, and so we're just trying to figure out. Because once you both get to a point, you have to decide whose career is going to continue.
Oh, okay.
So we don't know who's going to do 20 and who's going to do 30 yet, but one of us wants to.
What does he do?
He's also he's a weapons technician.
Okay.
He works out on the flight line.
Okay, cool. So how is it being married to another active duty member?
It works.
Is it tough at times, or?
No, but I also grew up with this lifestyle.
Yeah.
I grew up with a lifestyle where my dad was gone or my dad was home, and so for us it's easier because we also came into it understanding.
Yeah.
You definitely, every relationship, it's all about communication, and if you don't talk, then you're not going to know what's going on in life, and so sometimes it's hard when they're away for longer periods of time, but they come back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think we've pretty much hit everything. We've hit medical tech, traveling, and then relationship advice as well. Is there anything I left out you want to talk about?
No. If you want to join the military, then I will say it's going to set you up for a life that you never knew you could have, and you'll learn so much more about yourself. For all those people who may be watching who are younger. And then if you're just looking for something that you want to do, we take students on base and we actually teach them as well. So.
And you can get schooling paid for. I mean, there's just so many benefits to it.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. Thank you.
We'll see you next time right here on From the Flightline on WGTV.